It's great to be here at the Stanford Success Scholar Chat. Like she said, my name is Yessica Ramirez, and I'm a first-generation Latina student. I am a transfer student from Chabot Community College and currently majoring in computer science at the University of Cal State East Bay. Also, in the past, I have served as a Girls Who Code facilitator with the Hispanic Foundation of Silicon Valley, where we taught young girls of color how to code and discover how fun computer science can be. And I'm also proud to share that I am the president and founder of the Dreamers Club at CSU East Bay, and it's a club for undocumented students that I started because I am a DACA student, and I really felt like there wasn't a safe space for myself and other undocumented students, and I decided to, take a leap of faith and create one. Also, I am currently conducting research for the Roomba Research Project in the Bay Area, which focuses on analyzing the impacts of gentrification. And gentrification is the changing of demographics in a specific region due to many resources such as rising housing prices, lack of housing policies, consumer prices rising, and many more reasons we can all see. And in my team, we have analyzed data from the Census Bureau, and we're focusing on the city of Oakland. And lastly, a fun fact about myself is that I love thrifting, secondhand clothing, and decorations, and I do think it's my form of helping the ecosystem.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Jessica. It's amazing to hear how involved you are both inside and outside of school. And I know you mentioned already that you are studying computer science as your major. So why did you end up choosing that as your major?
I chose computer science as my major essentially as a challenge to myself because I did not see women of color in STEM. And I originally started off with business as my associate's degree at my community college, but I knew I wanted to study computer science to study kind of real world problems, such as different applications and analyzing data. And I also love that with computer science, it's able to incorporate problem solving very similar to puzzles. And like I love puzzles. Also, part of the reason I chose to volunteer as a Girls Who Code facilitator was to share some of my joy for computing and to inspire other young students to see that there's endless possibilities to coding. And during the sessions for the Girls Who Code, we were able to explore influential women in coding and also work on projects about gaming and music creation.
Yeah, I know you mentioned a little bit already about how in the computer science field, you don't really see that many women and especially people of color. So knowing those factors, what are some of the challenges that you face, Jessica, being a first generation Latina, being a DACA student, and how were you able to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, the biggest challenge that I have faced as a student was the lack of resources. And what I noticed is that a lot of the resources that are available at universities are for students who have had family previously attend and graduate college. And because I am a first gen student and undocumented, it was a little bit more challenging because as a DACA student, I am not eligible for federal funding or different types of scholarships because I'm not a citizen or a resident. And there were also many scholarships that I didn't qualify for. However, I did go to my counselors and I asked a lot of questions, and I went through a lot of trial and error to try to overcome that challenge. The Dream Center, for instance, at my community college was a huge help and it was my safe space. However, like I mentioned, I did start the Dreamers Club at CSU East Bay, and that was primarily the reason to create a safe community for undocumented students. And that way, we don't have the challenge of feeling neglected and isolated. And alongside my club members and my advisors, we've been able to hold informational meeting events with attorneys and past alumni to better support DACA and undocumented students.
Yeah, it's so powerful to hear, Yessica, how, you didn't see that there was a space for DACA students and, you made the effort and the initiative to create one. And I think it just goes to show the trailblazer in yourself and, how committed you are to be supporting and also helping out your peers. So that's really amazing to hear. Our next question for you, Yessica, is what excites you about your major?
Um, the possibilities, for sure. I'm really excited that I have so many options and opportunities to explore within my career. For instance, I have chosen as my focus data engineering, where I can see real world data from companies such as Spotify, Netflix, Instagram, like they're real data I could work with and create visualizations and work with others to be able to work with the data. Um, I also have the option to go into more fields such as business intelligence, data analysis, machine learning, and many more fields. And in order to prepare for that, I am enrolled in Data Camp, which is like a series of courses where you learn the skills you need for data, working with data. So that's one of the ways that I am preparing myself to join the workforce. But also, like I mentioned, I am part of the Roomba research project, where my role is essentially to be a data analyst. So that's another way that I get to work and analyze all sorts of information and work with it too. Yeah.
Oh, it's really great to hear. And I know you said that there's countless different, fields you can enter when you go into a computer science major, and also like different just industries. So for a student that would like to follow in a similar path as you, Yessica, what advice would you give them? And specifically, if they want to enter like a STEM profession or a computer science career.
I I think the most important thing is to keep your mind open and don't feel pressure to do one thing because you might go to college and take a class and find you want to switch your major. So please don't ever feel pressured because you are so young as well. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I know when I was in college, I was the most timid and quiet girl in the class, and I was embarrassed to ask questions. But honestly, once I graduated, I saw the strength and the power of asking people for help and just asking them if they could show you the way or guide you through, your progress. I also recommend, a little biased, going to community college because you save so much money. I went to school for free, essentially, pretty much, studying at Shiba College, and it definitely helped me prepare to transfer to a four-year university. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting off at a community college. There is great education that can be found there, and I know that's where I started off, and I found myself a little bit. Also, when you do go to college, try to find an DocuCenter if you aren't documented to access resources, free legal help, and financial aid available. So to go more in depth for advice for undocumented students, I think as an undocumented student, it's important to acknowledge that there are obstacles, but they're not enough to stop you from not having an educational career. So it's important to be strong-minded through your journey and surround yourself with people who understand your situation so they can provide you with the support you need.
Thank you so much, Yessica, for all this great advice and also for sharing your experiences. And we really appreciate you, coming out and being a part of our chat. You're definitely an inspiration. So everybody, let's give her a virtual round of applause. This isn't over yet, though. However, we'll be opening it up for Q&A. So students, if you haven't already, please type your questions in the chat or feel free to open your mic if you have any pending questions. I'll be taking a look at the chat now. So since we don't have any current, oh, we have one here. So what is the most memorable experience that you have had in your academic journey so far?
Thank you for asking the question. I'm going to say the people I have met, the teachers, the students, you know, my team members. That's one of like the most memorable parts about my academic journey. So I strongly recommend you guys to maybe join clubs or, you know, form strong relationships with your professors because they can guide you through, you know, the rest of your journey. For instance, I've kept in contact for my math professor from like 3 years ago because she was just, you know, she really cared about my journey. Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica. So our next question is from Quincy. They ask, any advice for dealing with the fact that comp sci majors are usually really impacted?
Yeah. It's really about your personal your grind because computer science is a difficult major. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's there's a lot of math and science. Um, and it is impacted, but there are a lot of jobs right now. So, you know, right out of college, I'm hopefully going to find a job, but I would recommend to just, you know, just really know that you want to do comp sci and study and talk to your professors. You know, they can offer the best advice since they've actually been in computer science jobs before and ask questions. But yeah.
Our next question is from Swarna. So what high school did you go to? And I would additionally add to that, maybe what kind of courses, if you did take any, Jessica, that might have helped you for a computer science, major when you went to college.
My high school is Arroyo High School. It's in San Lorenzo. I don't know if you guys know where that is. Yeah, so I was a straight A student, and I took a lot of I took a couple AP courses to prepare me for college. I think it was challenging, but it was the most realistic form of what college would be like. So if you have the opportunity to take honors or AP just to get a sense of what college is going to be like, I do recommend you do so. But yeah, I went to Arroyo.
Our next question comes from Matthew. So are there any resources for when preparing for interviewing for STEM jobs or specifically internships?
Yeah, actually, through the Hispanic Foundation of Silicon Valley, they've been helping me prepare for that. And I know that they have special programs that you can reach out to them where they'll guide you through it. But besides that, YouTube. That's where I first started out. I went to YouTube because there's really great resources there, and also online. But besides that, I think one of the best and most direct ways to get help to prepare for interviews are to reach out to people who already have the jobs. So in the program that I was with the Hispanic Foundation of Silicon Valley, they taught us how to reach out to people who already had the jobs. And they did say it's scary. It's really scary to reach out to strangers. But that was the best way to find out what, you know, your future career could look like. And they give the best advice because they have the job already. But yeah.
I love that. The power of networking is huge. So if you know anybody that is already in the career that you would like to go into, or for instance, you know, we have Jessica here. If you would like to contact her, learn more about her experiences, you can definitely do that as well. So our next question comes from Raquel. Was there something in high school that motivated you to major in computer science?
Honestly, no. No, because I knew I wanted to start out in business. And once I went to community college, that's where I found the motivation to do STEM. Because in my high school, I didn't see many people of color pursuing STEM. It was a lot of Caucasian and Asian students at my school. So I felt a little, I felt left out. So that's why I didn't pursue comp sci right out of high school. It took me a lot of courage to reach out to people and meet people who were already in STEM that were women of color to decide to change my major. Because as a business major, it's like it's a lot of women and many people of color, but not in comp sci, not really. But yeah.
So Quiñones asks, what's the difference between majoring in computer science and completing coding boot camps?
How much money you spend. That's primarily one of the reasons. And boot camps tend to be shorter, a lot shorter than 4 years. And there used to be a lot of skepticism about boot camps, like, oh, you shouldn't do it. But in this day and age, it's becoming more common, and employers, they're more accepting of it. So I think the difference is the time and the money that go into the two. So those are the two big differences.
And then Falcone's advisory class asks, what was the most helpful study tool that led you to your success in college? Was it study groups, getting help from your professors, online resources, etc.?
Yeah, it was study groups. I like that you mentioned that. It was definitely working with my classmates. In college, you're gonna have to connect with students, even if it's just for studying or for class projects. I know in my journey, we had a lot of class projects, and through those relationships and future courses, we were able to help each other and like share resources and learn from one another. So that was a huge, huge help for me. And also reaching out to my professors. I think that's been my main source of help, because they're able to guide me through, and when I'm stuck, they'll give me time to reflect on it, but then if I can't get it, they'll be there to help me, guide me. But yeah, those were my two main tools. But yeah.
I have one more question for you, Yessica. How are you able to balance, you have so many things outside of your academic career that you do on top of, going to classes. And you said you were, founding the Dream Center at East Bay. And then on top of that, you're doing research projects. So how are you able to balance all these different projects and different courses that you're taking?
It's really hard, but with a planner. I have a trusty planner where I help write down, all of my thoughts and all of my plans and upcoming events. That's how I've been able to help myself, stay balanced and stay in a peaceful mindset. Because otherwise, I think I would be a little overwhelmed. And I know talking to my mom, because she's my main source of support. She helps me plan things out, and if I do get overwhelmed, which I try not to get to that point, she's there to help me and see the light at the end of the tunnel. So for sure, not procrastinating. Please don't procrastinate in college. It's so bad and stressful when you do that. But yeah, making sure that you have everything organized. Yeah, that's how I balance everything.
They don't really teach us the power of prioritizing, but even for myself, Yessica, I have a planner and I love, organizing my things in advance. So I know like what's due the next day and, even 2 weeks ahead. That way, like it's already organized in my head. So
Yeah.
love that advice. I'm going to ask one more question, but if anybody else has any other pending questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We still have a couple more minutes, so we can definitely answer those pending questions if anybody has any. But what does an average day look like for you in school, Yessica?
I'm currently on vacation, but when I am in school, virtual school, I haven't been on campus since I transferred. I wake up and I take my brother to school. I'm responsible for my younger brother, so I pick him up and I drop him off, and then once I'm home, I plan everything out in my journal, my planner, and I try to organize my time so that I can do everything, but with a high quality, not just rushing through things. And I get to do my homework, projects, and I meet with my club at least once a week. So I'm also working on like things that we're gonna work on, and I eat and I sleep, and sometimes I watch anime. That's about it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time, Yessica. We are actually going to wrap up this conversation now, but everybody, we can all give her a virtual round of applause. Thank you again, Yessica, for being one of our amazing scholars here today, just sharing your personal academic journey. We know you're going to have a successful career in computer science and be a role model to other Latinas, other people of color that are really interested in a career like this. And of course, Paisley, our intern, is dropping some additional resources in the chat right now, including our Hispanic Foundation of Silicon Valley Scholarship book that we update every quarter, as well as we are including our Latinos in Technology Scholarship video that we have a series on YouTube, and you can definitely go in there and learn about other scholars who are, studying different fields in STEM and other potential people that you can reach out to that might be in a career that you might want to go into. As well, you can reach out to Yessica if you have any further questions. Her email is in the chat as well. And yeah, I also want to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out to our partners at TFHE. Raquel and Ahel, thank you so much for continuing this collaboration with us. We are definitely looking forward to continuing this chat, in the upcoming months. But if all students can take 1 to 2 minutes now to complete our post survey, Paisley will include the link in our chat. This will help us in, hearing more about what kind of scholars you want to hear for our next chats and what kind of topics you want to hear about as well. But again, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you at our next chat in February.